Video games make people violent. Video games aren't a productive use of your time. Video games are a toxic and angry place. You've probably heard it all before, but what if we told you it's these very games that have saved lives and brought many out of depression and anxiety? In today's video, we'll tell you how video games have had a positive effect on people and have even served as a platform to help save lives. First up, we have the boy who saved his sister from moose attack. There's been several examples over the last few years where kids have actually used certain gaming techniques to avert serious situations. But we don't think you've ever seen or heard anything quite like this. In 2007, a 12-year-old Norwegian boy, Hans Jørgen Olsen, actually put his World of Warcraft skills to good use and saved his and his sister's lives. While walking home via a shortcut through the woods, the siblings ran into an unfriendly moose. It was a bit of a standoff, and the giant moose was clearly not happy with these uninvited little guests venturing into his territory. Rather than panicking, Hans used the taunt skill he learned from playing World of Warcraft to divert the moose's attention away from his sister, allowing her to run to safety. For those who don't know, the taunt skill is used in the game to focus enemies, so you can take them on one at a time. When the moose charged at him, Hans used another WoW trick called feign death, and as the name suggests, he feigned his own death by dropping to the ground and playing dead. Level 30, if you're wondering. The moose eventually gave up and walked away, and his plan totally worked. That's a big W for Hans. Another boy saves lives with Counter-Strike. 12-year-old Jose Darwin Graciano saved his and his friends' lives in 2013 thanks to the skills he learned while playing Counter-Strike. Jose and his friends were playing in the streets of their hometown of Mandaue, Philippines, when they came across some unusual objects. And kids being kids, they decided to investigate these mysterious-looking objects further when something clicked in Jose and he recognized them for what they truly were upon closer inspection. He'd seen them before in the popular shooting game Counter-Strike and told his friends to immediately put them down until the cops arrived. The children had discovered a small stash of hand grenades. If it wasn't for Jose's intervention and his knowledge about grenades thanks to Counter-Strike, he and his friends would have been dead meat by now. Up next, Grand Theft Auto saves Grandpa's life. For a game known for killing, prostitutes, and car theft, it's kind of nice to know that something good came from it. So this incident took place back in 2014. After his grandfather blacked out behind the wheel, Charlie Cullen, who was only 11 at the time, successfully navigated oncoming traffic on a highway. For someone who had never driven any vehicles in his life, cause duh, he's a child, it came as a shock to many how he was able to manage it, until Charlie revealed that he'd learned the skill from none other than the video game he'd been obsessed with, GTA. Instead of letting Jesus take the wheel, he decided to hop on it himself and eventually crashed the car into a wall while trying to wake his grandpa. The two even got injured in the process, but thankfully made a full recovery, and Charlie credited his skills to the game. Can't say we fully endorse the game as a proper driver's program, but hey, you go, Glen Coco. Another man avoids a fatal accident thanks to years of video games. Did you know that one of the most researched and documented skills and abilities that video games have been shown to improve are a person's reflexes? Just like little Charlie, Canadian Matthew Grissan, too, was able to save himself from a fatal accident when he had to take a quick evasive action to avoid a crash while driving on an Ontario highway. With his quick thinking and reflexes, Grissan was able to avoid a truck and other cars that crashed through the central barrier and into his direction. He later told reporters that he thought the instant reaction was the result of years of playing video games. We say skip the driver's ed classes and just play Mario Kart and GTA instead. And then we have a disabled man who saved his life with Ebony. While it's usually known as the literal cesspool of hate, there are times when online gaming can show the brighter side of humanity, such as this one incident when the 52-year-old Bob Chambers' house caught fire. Bob was suffering from muscular dystrophy, a disease that limits mobility. He couldn't reach his phone or run out of the building, and he couldn't scream for help for his neighbors either. It looked like the end for Bob, but he didn't give up. He went ahead and did the only thing he could think of. Bob went to the chat room for Ebony, a game he was playing, and asked the players for help. A couple of players from Texas and Indiana responded to his call for help, which read, "My house is on fire and I can't get out." They then immediately called the police and fire departments, who thankfully showed up in time to save Bob. It's a great internet lesson. Never tell strangers where you live unless your house is on fire, in which case you should tell everyone. At number 4, we have America's Army that saved a life. Back in 2018, a man named Paxton Galvanic saved 2 lives from an awful traffic accident, all thanks to a video game that he'd been playing. So here's what happened. Paxton was going about his usual day when he came across an SUV TV flipped upside down. With no prior medical training, he helped one victim who had unfortunately lost some of their fingers by using a towel to stop the bleeding. He also advised the victim to raise his hand over his head to prevent further blood flow and dangerous clotting. Turned out, Paxton had learned all these life-saving methods from the medic training section from a video game called America's Army. Had it not been for Paxton and his video game knowledge, who knows what would have happened to those poor souls. Next up, this is how Pokemon Go saved animals. So far, we've seen how video games can influence life choices, teach some pretty basic survival tricks, and even educate on some serious life-saving methods. But have you seen video games save animals? Pokemon Go quickly became a worldwide phenomenon when it was released back in 2016, prompting millions of people to step outside in search of the virtual creatures. Besides its obvious benefits of getting some exercise and fresh air, the virtual reality game also led to a large number of animals being rescued. Turned out that the exploratory nature of the app led people to places they wouldn't have gone otherwise, allowing them to come across abandoned pets and other stray animals in need. In one case, a Reddit user was able to save a cat's life that had gotten stuck behind a junction box in the street. The rescue team included members of the fire and police departments, as well as employees from the utility company responsible for the box. In another incident, a badly injured puppy was found in Texas and nursed back to health by a veterinary clinic, and a group of 20 hamsters and 7 mice were discovered abandoned in a cage in the middle of the park that would have starved to death had it not been for Pokemon Go. And it helped people with depression. Apart from saving animals, Pokemon Go made the lives of those struggling with anxiety and depression easier too. According to multiple reports, the game played an important role in getting a large number of people out of their house to exercise and socialize with others. This is mainly because of the fact that the game encouraged interaction, provided locations where people are likely to gather, and even gave a definite talking point. And finally, how Wii Sports helped the elderly. Okay, this one's got to be the most wholesome entry. Wii Sports was almost certainly the most famous and popular among older gamers of all the games released by Nintendo for the Wii. Even those who had never played video games before, particularly the elderly, became obsessed with them. The Wii accomplished the impossible by making video games accessible to the elderly. It also proved to be super useful, as various studies revealed that the title had a positive effect on those in nursing homes or retirement homes. It not only provided useful exercise and activity for senior citizens, but it also provided a way for them to remain social by allowing them to compete against others and participate in tournaments. The list of pop culture stuff that you and your grandparents can bond over is awfully short. For example, do they know about Justin Bieber's Ramsay Hunt syndrome or Kendall Jenner's breakup? No? We thought so. Bless Wii for finally adding video games to the list of very few things that you and your grandparents can bond over. That's a wrap for this video. How have video games helped you in your life? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. See you in the next one.